The concept of Stargates is popularly associated with Hollywood fiction. In the famous 1994 movie starring Kurt Russell, the US military comes into possession of an ancient device of extraterrestrial origin, which is capable of forming a traversable wormhole for cosmic explorers. Stepping through the Stargate results in almost instantaneous travel to a corresponding device on a planet thousands of light years away. But is there any truth behind the fiction? The answer, according to a number of self-described whistleblowers, is yes. One of the most controversial individuals to speak out on the reality of Stargates is Arthur Newman, a scientist who claims to have held numerous top-secret clearances during his career working for the US Department of Defense and various intelligence agencies. Between 2006 and 2007, Newman, under the alias Henry Deacon, told online whistleblower hub Project Camelot of his inside knowledge of at least 2 types of Stargate being used in US government black projects. 1. The kind where you step through a portal and leave the device behind. And 2. The kind where you take the device with you. Of the latter type, Newman said, "You think about where you want to go, and you're there." Newman claimed that at least one of the military's Stargates leads to Mars, which he says is a populated planet, with at least 670,000 people currently living there in a base, at the bottom of an ancient seabed. Newman says the base is not far from a location known as Utopia Planitia, photographed by NASA's Viking 2 lander in 1976. Newman also says that the infamous face on Mars is a real remnant of an ancient civilization, contrary to NASA's statements that it is a natural formation. Transport to the Red Planet is by 2 means, says Newman: Stargates for personal and small items, and spacecraft for larger items of freight. These spacecraft, says Newman, are part of America's secret space fleet, called Solar Warden, evidence for which was stumbled upon by the infamous British computer hacker Gary McKinnon in 2002. McKinnon was the subject of intense worldwide media scrutiny following his arrest by authorities for his hacking of Pentagon and NASA computers, which he said was motivated by his desire to discover the US government's UFO secrets, an objective in which he claims to have succeeded to some small degree. McKinnon told Wired.com that he saw a photograph in NASA's top-secret files that showed a large object in Earth's orbit. It was a silvery, cigar-shaped object with geodesic spheres on either side, said McKinnon. There were no visible seams or riveting. There was no reference to the size of the object, and the picture was taken presumably by a satellite looking down on it. The object didn't look man-made or anything like what we have created. McKinnon told Wired, "I also got access to Excel spreadsheets. One was titled Non-Terrestrial Officers. It contained names and ranks of US Air Force personnel who were not registered anywhere else. It also contained information about ship-to-ship transfers, but I've never seen the names of these ships noted anywhere else." McKinnon believes that these ships were in fact spaceships, and that the non-terrestrial officers were stationed on them in Earth orbit. This would lend at least some support to the claims of Arthur Newman. Newman also told Project Camelot of the Anunnaki described in the work of Zecharia Sitchin. They're real, too, he claims, and are split into a number of factions. Some are friendly, others not. Indeed, Newman even indicated to Project Camelot that this latter faction has acquired a taste for human flesh. Most controversially, Newman hinted to Camelot on several occasions that he had been to Mars himself. Camelot founders Kerry Cassidy and Bill Ryan asked Newman if he had been to the Red Planet. After a long pause, Newman smiled subtly and said simply, "I played a lot of ping pong and watched a lot of TV." Every way in which he referred to the Mars base was consistent with his having visited it personally, say Cassidy and Ryan. Newman later related to Camelot that the experience of passing through a Stargate was at once disorientating and exhilarating. He described the appearance of a man-made Stargate as a featureless grey surface, while natural Stargates have a different appearance which is harder to detect. What are we to make of the claims of Arthur Newman? Little is known about his background, although he claims to have worked at Lawrence Livermore National Labs, and Project Camelot claims to have verified his credentials. On the face of it, Newman's testimony sounds like science fiction. But could this be because Hollywood has been hiding the truth in plain sight? Are movies like Stargate closer to fact than fantasy? Perhaps there is more truth to be found about Mars in Hollywood narratives than in the official statements of NASA. Indeed, just as many have suggested that Hollywood has long been used as a tool of public acclamation to the reality of UFOs and aliens, perhaps it is similarly used as a conduit for the truth about Mars and Stargate technologies. In the year 2000, Disney, which has a long-standing and well-documented relationship with the US government and Defense Department, released Mission to Mars, a movie depicting the first manned mission to the Red Planet, in which astronauts discover that humans are descended from an ancient race of Martians who constructed the famous Martian face and pyramids. With this in mind, it is telling that Mission to Mars received official assistance from NASA, as documented by Robbie Graham in his book Silver Screen Saucers. 2005 saw the release of the sci-fi action movie Doom, an adaptation of the 1990s video game of the same name. In the movie, archaeologists working in the Nevada desert discover a portal to an ancient city of Mars. They call this portal the Ark, and set about trying to understand how it works and what happened to the civilization that built it. The so-called Ark in Doom is a Stargate in every respect but name, an ancient technology discovered by archaeologists that enables near-instantaneous travel to Mars, where scientists discover fossilized evidence of a human-like civilization. Much like the Stargate in the eponymous movie The Ark, in Doom is stored at a top-secret underground military facility, in this case Papoose Lake in Nevada, the exact location of the facility described by Area 51 whistleblower Bob Lazar. Of course, Stargate movie also generated a popular spin-off TV franchise comprised of Stargate series SG-1, Atlantis and Universe, and it is extremely revealing that each of these series received the full support of the United States Air Force and US Space Command, with all the creative influence that this implies. In the original 1994 movie, the Stargate facility is loosely based on NORAD's Cheyenne Mountain facility, but in the government-backed TV spin-offs, the location is Cheyenne Mountain itself, filmed with the permission of the Air Force. The Air Force was so enthusiastic about the Stargate franchise that, in Season 4 of Stargate SG-1, Air Force Chief of Staff Michael E. Ryan made a cameo appearance as himself. Another Air Force Chief of Staff, General John P. Jumper, starred as himself in the final installment of Season 7 of SG-1, first broadcast in March 2004. Later that same year, SG-1 star Richard Dean Anderson was invited to the Pentagon, where he chatted with the Joint Chiefs of Staff before being awarded the title of Honorary Brigadier General, as thanks for SG-1's consistently positive depiction of the US military. The award was bestowed on the actor by General Jumper himself. 3 years later, in June 2007, Jumper became a Director of Science Applications International Corporation, SAIC, a powerful defense contractor long rumored to be one of the key players in the reverse engineering of alien technologies. Could it be that the US military and NASA, through their close relationship with Hollywood, have been trying to subtly prepare us for the shocking reality of Stargates and the truth about Mars? President Donald Trump recently announced plans to send a manned mission to Mars by 2033. This is widely believed to be unfeasible, but Trump is determined to do it. Many historic Mars missions have failed, with numerous satellites over the years mysteriously malfunctioning or vanishing as they have neared the Red Planet. Commentators have referred to this bleak history as the curse of Mars. and some ufologists have speculated that the high failure rate of NASA's Mars missions is no coincidence, that the planet is already inhabited and that its inhabitants are unwelcoming of Earth's scrutiny. With all of this in mind, we might ask why the President is so keen to establish an official presence on Mars so soon, and what exactly NASA might discover, and choose to reveal when its astronauts set foot on the dusty red surface of our ancient planetary neighbor.